Every year, tens of thousands of criminal cases in the United States go unsolved. In fact, according to the FBI, over 250,000 murder cases have gone cold since 1980. That's over 250,000 families still waiting for answers. Loved ones taken away. Justice denied. Closure never found. But today, a revolution is quietly unfolding in the world of criminal justice. And it's not about more boots on the ground or sharper instincts. It's about machines, molecules, and microchips. From decades-old DNA samples to hidden data deep in a digital footprint, modern technology is breathing new life into forgotten files, and turning cold cases red-hot again. A cold case is a criminal investigation that has gone unsolved and inactive for a significant period. Months, years, even decades. Evidence may have been collected, suspects questioned, and leads pursued, but without a clear resolution, these cases fall into obscurity. Yet for the families of victims, time doesn't erase pain. Every unsolved case is a story left unfinished, a wound that never heals. But something has changed. With each new leap in forensic science and digital innovation, police departments around the world are dusting off their oldest case files. They're reopening the boxes that were once set aside indefinitely. And thanks to these breakthroughs, some of the most baffling crimes in history are finally being solved. Not by luck or confession, but by cold, calculated science. To understand the significance of these modern breakthroughs, we have to understand the monumental challenges investigators face when dealing with a cold case. First and foremost, evidence. In many cases, physical evidence has deteriorated, been lost, or wasn't collected properly in the first place. In the 1970s and 80s, forensic procedures were far less standardized. Crime scenes were sometimes contaminated, crucial items overlooked, or materials stored improperly. Even when evidence was collected, investigators simply didn't have the tools to analyze it in the way we can today. Second, outdated technology. Before the era of genetic testing, digital surveillance, and nationwide databases, detectives were limited to interviews, physical surveillance, and rudimentary fingerprint analysis. If no one confessed and no eyewitness stepped forward, the case often hit a dead end. And finally, the human toll. Detectives retire. Witnesses pass away. Memories fade. And the families of victims? Many never stop hoping. But they carry a heavy emotional burden. Decades of grief, unanswered questions, and the sense that the world has forgotten. So, what's changed? 3 major advancements have revolutionized the field of cold case investigation: DNA analysis, digital forensics, and artificial intelligence. Let's start with DNA analysis. Back in 1985, DNA fingerprinting was first used to solve a murder. Today, it's a cornerstone of modern forensics. And the technology has come a long way. With the help of polymerase chain reaction, PCR, even the tiniest, most degraded samples can be amplified and analyzed. What was once considered useless, like a small strand of hair or a trace of skin, can now provide a complete genetic profile. Even more remarkable? Genetic genealogy. Using public DNA databases like GEDmatch, investigators can identify a suspect not by their own DNA, but by matching partial profiles with distant relatives. This approach led to the capture of one of America's most notorious criminals, the Golden State Killer. Next, digital forensics. Every day, we generate massive amounts of digital data. Texts, emails, location history, online purchases, and more. Even in crimes committed long ago, technology can play a key role. Archived surveillance footage, old cell phone records, or forgotten emails can surface years later and be the missing link. Digital forensic teams can recover deleted data, trace digital footprints, and reconstruct timelines that were once lost to history. And finally, artificial intelligence. AI is now helping to solve cold cases faster and with more accuracy. Machine learning algorithms can sift through mountains of data, old case files, police reports, interview transcripts, and identify patterns or links that human investigators might miss. Facial recognition software can identify people in grainy photos. Predictive analytics can point detectives to possible suspects or locations based on crime scene similarities. These aren't just tools, they're game changers. And to truly grasp their power, let's look at a real case where modern technology turned a cold case into a solved mystery. Idaho Falls, 1996. 18-year-old Angie Dodge was found murdered in her apartment. The brutal nature of the crime shook the community. Police quickly arrested and convicted a young man named Christopher Tapp, who confessed after long hours of interrogation. But something never felt right. Tapp's confession didn't align with the physical evidence, especially the DNA found at the scene, which didn't match his. For years, Angie's mother, Carol Dodge, fought tirelessly to find the truth. She believed the wrong man was behind bars. And she was right. Fast forward to 2019. Genetic genealogy entered the scene. Investigators used the DNA sample from the crime scene and uploaded it to GEDmatch. They found partial matches with several individuals, none of whom were suspects, but who shared enough genetic material to build a family tree. After extensive genealogical work, they zeroed in on a new suspect, Brian Drips. Drips lived near Angie at the time of the murder. He wasn't on anyone's radar. But when investigators obtained his discarded DNA from a cigarette, it matched the crime scene. Faced with the evidence, Drips confessed. He had acted alone. Christopher Tapp, who had spent 20 years behind bars for a crime he didn't commit, was finally exonerated. The breakthrough not only brought justice for Angie Dodge, it gave a grieving mother the truth she had waited decades to hear. Angie's story is powerful, but it's not unique. Across the country, modern technology is unlocking justice. In 1984, 14-year-old Wendy Jerome was raped and murdered in Rochester, New York. The case went cold for 35 years, until DNA from the crime scene matched a man named Timothy Williams through a state database. He was arrested in 2020, and the case was finally closed. In Washington state, the case of the Potomac River rapist went unsolved for more than 2 decades. With the help of genetic genealogy, authorities identified the suspect as Giles Daniel Warwick. The digital trail and DNA left behind decades earlier ultimately led to his arrest. Even facial recognition has helped. In China, police used AI-enhanced video analysis to solve a series of child abductions, reuniting families after decades apart. For the families affected, these breakthroughs are more than just headlines. They're life-changing. Imagine living for 30 years without knowing who took your child's life. Imagine being accused of something you didn't do, and finally being cleared by a molecule. Technology has not only helped bring closure, it's corrected injustices, exonerated the innocent, and restored faith in the system. And the momentum is building. Nonprofits like the Cold Case Foundation and organizations like Othram are partnering with law enforcement to apply cutting-edge science to forgotten files. Grants and private funding are enabling even small-town departments to access high-tech resources once reserved for federal agencies. We are standing at the threshold of a new era. The future of cold case investigations is being rewritten by code and chemistry. Imagine AI systems that can review decades of unsolved murders and instantly highlight connections. Imagine portable DNA labs that can deliver results in hours instead of months. Imagine crowdsourced forensics, millions of citizens contributing their DNA profiles to help identify unknown killers. We're not just solving mysteries, we're changing the rules of the game. But none of this happens without support. Continued investment in forensic science, ethical frameworks for digital privacy, and open collaboration between agencies will determine how many more cases we can crack. So, what do you think? Has technology gone too far, or not far enough? Are we finally tipping the scales of justice back in the right direction? Drop a comment below, and let us know your thoughts on technology in crime solving. Do you have a cold case you'd like to learn more about? Share it with us, and we might cover it in an upcoming video. Because justice delayed doesn't have to mean justice denied. Thanks to the power of modern technology, the truth has a voice, and it's louder than ever.